We'll call to order the meeting of the Norman Forward Senior Wellness Center ad hoc group for Wednesday, May the 5th, 2021. And I'll call the roll. Mary Bonner.
Here.
Gail Hobson.
Here.
Nadine Jewell.
Here.
Bill Terry. Tammy Vaughn.
Here.
Christy Wright. Actually, that's Sue Favors.
Here.
Sue, were you here?
Yes.
And Tom Sherman. And Liz Ross.
Here.
Okay. Next we can go to an approval of the agenda. Does anybody want to make a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda. This is Tammy.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Okay. And we'll just go down the roll and say yay or nay. Mary Bonner,
Yay.
Gail Hobson,
Yay.
Nadine Jewell,
Yay.
Tammy Vaughn.
Yay.
And then the item 3, approval of the minutes from the March 26th, 2021 meeting. Has everybody had a chance to look those over?
Yes.
Yes.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I make the motion to approve.
Okay, thank you, Nadine. Need a second?
Mary Bonner will second.
Okay, and I'm gonna go down the row again, just say yay or nay, if you approve the minutes. Mary Bonner,
Yay.
Gail Hobson,
Yes.
Nadine Jewell,
Yes.
and Tammy Vaughn.
Yes.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is the project update and the cost estimate review.
Yeah, I'm gonna take this and run through. We've got a short presentation for you just to kind of bring you up to where we are currently with the project. Go ahead, Jason. Yeah, so this is the you've seen these images before. This is a rendering of the exterior, the front of the building, as it would appear from looking kind of southwest from Finley Avenue. And we're still on with this same appearance, same design. Everything is pretty much like you saw it before. Go ahead, Jason. This is the site plan for the Health Village. Again, you've seen all these images, but we're going to go through these real quickly. On the left side is Porter Avenue. On the right side is Finley, and the south or the lower right, southeast corner is the site for the Senior Wellness Building as it's proposed. The two buildings, pardon me, two buildings kind of catty corner from that on the upper left that are a little bit different shade, lighter shade of orange or whatever color that is, are existing hospital buildings that will remain, and all the rest of the hospital buildings eventually will go away and be replaced with these other improvements. So this is just to orient you as to where our site is located. Go ahead. This is just now focused in on that southeast corner. This is the footprint of the Senior Wellness Building in the parking area. Again, we saw this all before, but this is where we're gonna site the building. and where the architects and engineers are now working to do just that. Go ahead, Jason. This is the same floor plan that you saw before. It's just over 32,000 feet through the room like we did before, but you see on the left, there's the pool, the aquatic part of the building. Then going clockwise, there's a small gymnasium, pickleball court, and then fitness equipment past that. And then there's a kitchen facility and a kind of a sitting area, some classrooms as you go on around, restrooms I didn't mention, and there's some classroom space as you go on around. And then back past the front door, in the middle of the pink shaded is the administrative areas of the building, and more classrooms and locker rooms and such for the fitness. All this is what you saw before. There have been, I think, some minor modifications, and there will be some additional modification, very minor, as we move forward. But this information went to our construction manager, and in a minute I'll introduce you to him. Aaron, I don't think you were on the last meeting call, were you?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, I didn't think so. So we now have our construction.
For mine. Okay.
Hello? Okay, so now we have our construction manager on board with us. It's Crossland Construction. We're excited about that. And so they have gone through an initial pricing exercise to come up with the initial cost estimate to build the building. So go ahead, Jason. Summary of that, to begin with, we got an overall budget of $12.4 million for the project. Out of that, the construction budget is $9.9 million that we're trying to get into. The initial construction estimate came in at 12.6, so we were about 2.7 over. And then we start looking at some value engineering ideas. Go ahead to the next slide, Jason. And through Crossland's work and that of other contractors and other groups, they've identified some possible options, some changes to the exterior finishing, some interior finish changes, and soft cost reduction. Those all potentially can come up with savings of about 1.9, almost $2 million that we can take off of the cost estimate. And then go ahead, Jason. And then some additional options to go even further is we could reduce the owner contingency from 10 down to 5%. That produces just over $400,000. We have some options to reduce the places in the building, and these would be insignificant, really. This would be, maybe make the pool deck a few feet shorter, or one of the classrooms a foot shorter, or something probably not noticeable. But when we get around the entire building, there's potential to take out maybe about 1,700 square feet, and that would produce almost $500,000 in savings potentially. And again, these would be minor reductions that would be insignificant. This is nothing like, taking out the entire pool or taking out an entire classroom or anything like that. So some minor adjustments there. And would potentially that if we did all of that, would reduce the size of the building down to about 30,000 square feet roughly, which is still a very significant project, and much like we had designed in the first place. Also, there's a part of the building that's fairly tall. We could take out a portion of that, maybe 5 to 6 feet of that height of it's the main entryway mostly. That could save some material costs of about 200,000.
Can I throw in a question there with that height change? And looking at the site plan, you have a covered drive entry. And I was going to ask the question about bus access, because obviously if their seniors take trips and they take a bus and that bus needs to fit underneath that drive-through, does that limit the amount of height we can actually take out of the height of that entry area?
I'm going to say no, that we're still going to be able to do that. And I'll defer over to Aaron. Just correct me if that's wrong.
No, I think that's pretty accurate. John might be able to speak to kind of the architectural makeup of that a little bit better, but yeah, 5 or 6 feet. I don't think that shouldn't touch the porte cochere, the view of it. And in John's opinion, though, I'm not sure.
I'll speak to that one. Absolutely not. That porte cochere is still going to be able to take on buses, ambulances, all medical care, anything like that. It's not being reduced.
May I interrupt? I got 2 messages from Betty Mafusi, Terry and Tom Sherman are someplace else. They didn't get the message. Okay.
Okay.
They're probably on that other call.
They're probably on others. And
Yeah.
I know we sent an email to Marvin and I text Art. And I'll see if I get a hold of Tom Sherman real quick,
And Betty.
and Betty.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Dave Beck. I just sent Betty Mafucci an email with that change with the new Zoom link.
Yeah. When we
Okay.
go back, Judd, I have a question about that height change.
Okay. Go ahead.
I just wonder, from the architects, would that change the look very much if we took that height out inside?
I don't know. I was about to call the.
I don't know how the hell we're gonna get all this done for tomorrow.
Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
This meeting. I'll go for that. Those other 3, I don't even know where they came from.
John?
They're legit.
Yeah.
They are legit. I looked through it, I was like, really? Where the hell are the cons?
Hey, John Slattery?
Put them in.
Hello, this is Bernie Whitlaw. I'm a project manager
So
for this
Charles, they
project.
were on the plumbing, and Charles is putting them in right now.
John
Excuse me,
Slattery.
Yes, I'm here.
And I'm
You gotta
saying that,
mute.
no, the overall design of it will not appear different. I mean, it's going to be the same massing. It's just going to be a little bit shorter. I don't think it's anything that anybody will ever notice. The renderings will still look very much the same that you've seen. If that helps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah, I like, a tall entryway like that's impressive. So you hate to take away that look.
Yeah, we're only talking, 5 to 6 feet at most, and the height of that right now is quite high. So it's a very small change, really.
Yeah, it looked to me like that was as tall as it looked in the rendering. That would make a difference, just from another architect's point of view on perspective and proportion.
Thank you, David.
Send Tom Sherman an email so he can get to this meeting.
Yeah, David, that portion that's supposed to come down is only for that front entry piece that is so tall. The rest of the building would have minuscule amounts of reduction, and the porte cochere would have 0 amount of reduction.
Okay, that helps. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on, Jason. Guys, I'm really sorry about this.
Well, you're
Sorry, I'm on mute. I was asking questions while I was on mute.
We need to move the slide, Jason, please.
The mayor asked, how will increased cost of building materials impact the budget estimates?
Okay. Let me kick that over to Aaron. He's probably best to speak
Absolutely.
to that.
So they have been considered in this. I think by the time this project goes to bid, which we're looking towards that November 2021 timeline, where we probably will see around 3 to 5% increase from what we're seeing today. What we're seeing today is certainly around a 20 to 25% increase from this time last year. So certainly battling material price increases right now, but there is potential that it levels out, and we only see a marginal increase to November.
Did you just say it was a 25% increase from last year?
From last February, yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, as
Yeah.
Bria said.
Yeah.
Okay, and so again, those are really kind of high level comments about the areas of reduction, but this is the main point here, and that is that the project, we can deliver the project in this budget, and this 9.9 million we can reach, we believe, with the cost estimating that we have at this point. And so what will happen next is the next phase of the design is the design development phase. And we'll get into more detail with all of the different materials and again, another updated cost estimate. And when that phase is finished, there'll be another update meeting to present all of this again to you. And at that point in time, the message will be, hey, we're still on track to be in budget, or we need to consider some specific changes, with a certain type of material or whatever that might be. And won't know that obviously until we get a little more detail. But the point of that we're making at this time is that it looks like with some fairly minor changes, we are good to go with a $9.9 million construction budget and think we can deliver this project. Go ahead, Jason. Next slide, please. I think that, oh yeah, that's the last one. So with that, we can open it up to any questions. And again, Aaron Stoops is representing Crossland and is, you've already heard from him. He's on the call, and the guys from FSB, John Slattery, is here, as well as some of the others. So we've got people that can answer your questions. I just saw a question from the mayor about groundbreaking, and I think we're looking at late summer, early fall. I don't think we have a date yet, but John Slattery, is that right?
October, November is where we're looking at.
Okay.
Judd, this Gail, could I just run through those changes for my thinking and maybe for others, just to clarify? We can stay at this budget, is the way I understand it, if we reduce the height of the inside entryway, the 200,000, if we take off square footage of about 2,000 square feet that come off the pool deck or out of a classroom or something in small amounts, correct?
Yes, and then reduce the contingencies, but it's likely that we won't have to do all of these, or maybe it's like maybe instead of 1,700 square feet, it's 500 square feet or 1,000 or so. It doesn't have to be all of this. It can be a portion. These are just estimates to get us into budget, but it could be that we don't have to use all of these options.
What do you mean by reduce the contingencies by 10?
So, okay, good question. The owner holds a contingency amount of over $900,000 that we use for things that come up. We could reduce that and only hold, 500,000 or something like that, and put the rest of that back into construction. There's also a design contingency that Crossland can reduce as well, similarly.
Yeah, but the risk of doing that is you leave yourself more open to overages. Because you may not be covering everything. I guess my question would be, especially from a material standpoint, which is where our real costs are killing us, I think, is how quickly can we get to a point where we can lock in the materials costs?
Aaron, I would go to you, but it's going to be after the design process is finished and we actually bid the items.
That's correct, Judd. I mean, if we plan to go out to bid somewhere in October, as soon as we bid it out, that would be the time period that we can lock in material pricing.
Okay, so we would kind of need to be, as on an ongoing basis, looking at material options as we get closer to that time, knowing that these costs are fluctuating, and they're fluctuating to the upside, not to the downside.
Correct.
So are you saying try to buy ahead or?
No, not necessarily, but understand what the market's doing. So
Yeah.
if we know we're going to run across a particular material that's going to be too expensive for us in October when we bid it out, let's get it into the process early enough that we all can kind of be aware that we're going to be having to make this change.
Right. That's exactly what we were talking about when in the development stage, where we get into more detail about the specific materials that are selected. We'll change the options will change based on what the pricing is. And we'll know that as we get closer into the fall. Or through the summer
assuming,
design development phase.
sorry, Jed. I'm assuming, Jed, though, that we can't go faster than that, or whoever would know that this cannot happen any faster in order to save on those costs. It's going to be
That's
October.
correct.
Okay.
That's correct. We've got to go through the design development phase of architecture to get into those details. And as they do that, as I said earlier, that we'll reprice everything as we go, and we'll know as we go how the cost estimate's looking versus our available funding.
And this is Dave Beck. As an architect and having done a lot of projects, when you do your initial bidding, you always bid conservatively, knowing that you don't know all the answers right up front. So the more you get into design development and construction documents, the more accurate you can be about your bidding, but you always start out with some conservative numbers, just cover things, right? I would think that our consultants are doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, do we need a motion, Jed, on those changes? Or are we gonna?
No, we don't. There's no decisions to make. We don't need you to approve any of these. We just wanted to point out that these options are available and will be considered as we move forward. And the good news is we're not suggesting at this point that, hey, we got to, cut off one end of the building because we can't afford it. We don't think we're at that point and don't think we're going to get there. But so it's kind of a good news report, really. After we had our initial cost estimate done. And we'll be back, at the next phase with a more detailed update and a revised cost estimate.
This is Dave Beck. This is part humorous. First of all, I want to say, Judd, you heard from me about my concern for the locker rooms, and I feel like the architects addressed that. I'm very much more comfortable with what we've ended up with there. Has anyone of you, our consultants, done a GoFundMe for any other projects?
That brought a few laughs.
Well, I was hoping to. I wanted to lighten this up a little bit.
That's right.
Well, Dave, what we need to do is people need to bid on their own lockers.
Your naming opportunities. My office is
That's
named
what I'm saying.
Yeah, Haskell Olivo's wife paid for my office, so.
Yeah, naming rights on the lockers. We'll get those prices up.
And we can do that with floor tile. Everybody's name will be imprinted in a floor tile. An exterior brick. No one's laughing. Come on.
Yeah. Hey, Judd, one
Yep.
thought, this Dale, for our next meeting, when we do one more look-see at this, when these changes get a little closer, can we look at meeting in person?
Yeah, we will be by then.
Okay, sounds good. Be easier.
Yes, it will. And I think we will have to do that, frankly. But again, I've heard today, I heard June 1st, we would be changing back. That's
Okay.
not official yet, but I think that's where we're headed.
Okay.
So I'll ask a question of FSB. What is our timeline, or ADG maybe, either one? What's our timeline to finish the design development phase?
ADG's got that. I sure do. Hold on just a second. If you'll continue the conversation, I'll have that information up on my keyboard in just a moment.
Yes, I'm pulling that up too.
Any other comments or questions while they're looking for those?
That is the best.
Oh, thank you.
Well,
Yeah, I guess I have one question. It may not be, it may be early to ask this, but was there a decision made on the, I can't remember now, whether we decided on the pool? Is it going to be saltwater or no saltwater?
It's not decided yet, I don't think.
Not decided,
Aaron,
okay.
Aaron, can you add anything to that in terms of your estimates?
The estimate would be based on a basic system. Well, I say basic, but to fill the needs of typical senior centers at this conceptual level that we budgeted, we really model it after a lot of other senior centers. So the equipment is somewhat negligible on the swap out for salt water versus typical chlorine system. So it's a matter of a few pieces of equipment and things like that. So we'll definitely, as we get into it, look at that long-term return on investment, between the two and what the price difference is ultimately.
Hey, Gail, and I can add a little bit to that. We already had our meeting over with the multi-sports project, and we kind of talked about the same thing. There's options, outside of buying a chlorinating system, there's options to lease it. So we'll be looking at all the alternatives, but everybody, all the consultants on this, on our side, has been communicated multiple times that we want salt water, and that's what we're looking at, and that's what we're shooting for.
Okay, thank you, Jason. I just wondered if that final decision had been made.
Team, we're looking at wrapping up design development mid-July, and then after we do another pricing exercise in peer review, we'll be able to come back to y'all with an update after the first week of August. That's our schedule right now.
So we'll need to be planning for another meeting in August, and we're going to miss Judd big time.
I tell you what, we need to give him a round of applause because he's been just a wonderful person to be with and to work with. Thank you, Judd.
So true. So true. Thank you, Judd.
You're welcome. I'm looking forward to using this thing in a couple of years. I'll be out there. I'll be out there swimming in the pool.
Yeah, we all will.
And before I take off, I want to say, as not a member of this group, but as an architect that likes beauty, I love the design of this building. You guys have done a great job with it. This is going to be a beautiful addition to Norman.
Thank you.
I agree.
Okay, anything else from anybody? Any other miscellaneous discussion from the ad hoc group?
Yeah, just Judd, I don't know if this is possible, but it would be great to have, at least in the minutes, an official thank you to you, because I know the years I've been working with you are not as many as some of the others, but many, and you have been great to communicate and to walk through this. So I'd like that to be an official however you do that, an official note in the minutes or something to just thank
No
you.
problem. We can make that happen.
Okay. So maybe we are finished. You want to, are you ready for
Unless-
that?
Yeah, if that's it, then you just somebody needs to move to adjourn and vote, and here we
Yep.
go.
Claire, I'll see you tomorrow.
I will see you tomorrow and someone else, Tammy tomorrow, and then I'm gonna meet with BJ at the senior center tomorrow, and then I'll be back
Next
next
week.
Friday to meet with some other folks. So
Great.
looking
Yes.
forward to getting down there more.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Claire, I
it's great to be
apologize.
here.
I should have asked you specifically if you had any comments about any of this.
No, just getting excited. I've talked to the physical therapy company that leases space at the Rockwell Center, and they're very interested in having a presence in the Norman Center as well, and getting some other inquiries from other wellness providers. So it's an exciting time, ready to, now that I'm fully vaccinated, I feel better meeting in person and less of a threat, maybe, I don't know. Trying to buy some red clothes for this cowgirl to go down to Norman. So I'll do my best while I'm down there, but looking forward to it.
Well, I
Yeah.
can tell you that with your group, with Healthy Living and Crossland and FSB, we've got a great team. This is going to be a great project. And I look forward to seeing it come up out of the ground and then be there when we cut the ribbon.
Good deal.
Yeah. That'll be great. It'll be fun to talk. Claire, I'd like to talk a little bit about what you do up in Northwest for mental health.
Yes, we need.
Features.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll do that. I'm
In
looking
Norman,
forward to
that'll
meeting
be-
with people.
Yeah, that'll be easier here because we have a lot of professionals in the community that can work with.
Yeah, and I think, build that in from the beginning. We have, some support groups here, but we don't have room to put a provider in. We don't even have shared space. We're just, so we've made sure, and John Slattery's done a great job of identifying and building in some nice, quieter flex space that could be used by different disciplines. So we could put someone in the building, which is what I'd like to do, at least on a part-time basis. So yeah, let's talk.
Yeah, super.
It's a key
Thanks.
component of health. So
The
we
key
need, we
component,
need that presence in there.
85%. That's
Yes,
the physical. Yep.
yes, it is. So
Even in an ER. So yeah,
yeah. So this
Great.
is a
it's
great
exciting.
time. I'm excited to take what we've learned on Northwest Oklahoma City and apply it. And we'll learn more too as we go along. You never stop learning, but we can maybe jump over some hurdles a little easier down in Norman than we did here.
Yeah, that's great.
Good enough.
Okay, anybody want to make a motion to adjourn, or anybody have anything else before we do that?
I'll make the motion to adjourn if no one has anything to say.
Thank you, Nadine. A second? I'll second. So we have a motion and a second to adjourn. Judd,
Okay.
unless there's
Okay.
unless somebody else has a comment.
I think you can just adjourn.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. And next time we'll be in person.
Yeah.
We'll call Judd.
All right.
Okay.
Very good.
Thanks
Thank you.
all.
Bye.
All right.